Photosynthesis. Okay, I promise I'm not going to sing to you because I have a really bad singing voice, but I am going to tell you all about photosynthesis today, and it's fascinating because this whole process supports all life on planet Earth. Okay, so photosynthesis is absorbing light energy in order to make chemical energy known as glucose. It is stored as carbohydrates in plants, yummy carbohydrates that our bodies need so desperately. And this equation right here, this is the chemical equation for photosynthesis, and we're going to break this down and talk more about it. So plants photosynthesize using the sun. Let's talk about it. Mr. Cactus is going to introduce us to our equation for photosynthesis. So we start with carbon dioxide. In fact, 6 molecules of carbon dioxide. We add water, specifically 6 molecules of water. We add a little bit of sunlight, energy in the form of sunlight, and what we end up with is glucose, also known as carbohydrates, and oxygen. Now, I want to explain about chemical equations. So you'll notice that this is an arrow and not an equal sign because we don't use equal signs in chemical equations. Chemical equations have to be balanced, and what that means is what is on this side of the arrow has to be the same molecules that are on this side of the arrow, because energy can never be destroyed. It can only be changed. So what we're doing is taking carbon dioxide and water and using energy to convert these two products into 2 new products. But if you notice, these 2 new products are made from the same molecules. So we have carbon here, we have carbon here, hydrogen here, hydrogen here, and then we have a whole bunch of oxygen. So same molecules on both sides, we just used energy to transform carbon dioxide and water into glucose and oxygen, and that's what photosynthesis is all about. Why is photosynthesis so important that I am making you sit through this lecture? It is the beginning of all food chains and all food webs in every ecosystem on our planet. Thus, all life is supported by photosynthesis. Literally, you and I would not be here if it were not for photosynthesis. It also is what makes oxygen. Remember, at the beginning of the history of our planet, 4 billion years ago, there was no oxygen. It was through the process of photosynthesis that oxygen was introduced into our atmosphere. Well, this is still true. The only reason why we have oxygen to breathe is because of plants photosynthesizing. So next time you see a tree, hug it and say thank you for the oxygen. Alright, so photosynthesis literally means putting together with light. So photo being light, synthesis means to create. So plants use sunlight to turn water and carbon dioxide into glucose, which is a type of sugar, a type of energy for all of the organisms that eat plants. Plants use glucose as food for energy and as building blocks for growing. Plants are considered autotrophs because they make their own food through the process of photosynthesis. Heterotrophs are the consumers of plants. So heterotrophs are consuming plants in order to consume that glucose, that is a carbohydrate that our bodies use for energy. Alright, so again, here is this chemical equation. Carbon dioxide and water transformed by energy from the sun into glucose and oxygen. Isn't that amazing? All we need is sunlight and we get everything that we need in order to sustain life on planet Earth. Okay, so as can be seen from this equation of photosynthesis, the wood, bark, and root come from water and carbon dioxide. And this is all due to sunlight. The sunlight is absorbed by chlorophyll, which is inside of the plants, organelles inside of the plants. So we have carbon dioxide, water, you add a little bit of sunlight, and you end up with glucose and oxygen. So plants in action. What is the process that uses the sun's energy to make simple sugars? It is photosynthesis. So these plants are absorbing energy, and they are absorbing carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. So plants are miraculous. They take carbon dioxide, which is a waste product for us, out of the atmosphere, and they use it in order to create food for themselves and food for us. And one of the waste products is oxygen, which is a vital nutrient for us. So plants are literally recycling our waste products into a nutrient that we need. And they are absorbing water through their roots. So here we have water, carbon dioxide, in the presence of sunlight being converted into glucose and oxygen. That is the basis of photosynthesis. So this photograph is of a Elodia leaf that has been magnified. You'll remember that you looked at Elodia under the microscope last semester for our comparing cells lab. These are individual cells that you can clearly see in this image. The tiny green structures that you're seeing, all of this green, these are the chloroplast. This is where photosynthesis is actually happening inside the cell. You can see photosynthesis in action. So chloroplast are what make the sugars. Chloroplast are organelles inside of the plant cells, and inside of these chloroplast are thylakoids, and thylakoids are where the energy is actually converted. So leaves are green because they contain the pigment chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is what is responsible for photosynthesis. So leaves have a large surface area so they can absorb as much light as possible in order to be very efficient at photosynthesis. And here are a couple of people, yes, hugging a tree, saying thank you to the glucose, which is a carbohydrate, which is a major energy source for us, and also thank you for the oxygen. Chloroplasts do also make oxygen. As we can see, this is an Elodia plant inside of water, and these air bubbles are oxygen. Stomas are basically pores that are on the leaves of the plants. They're openings that help the plants to exchange gas. So the stomas help the plant to absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen, because carbon dioxide is a nutrient for the plant and a waste product for the plant. The opposite for us. For us, oxygen is a nutrient and carbon dioxide is the waste product. So two important gases that go in and out of the leaf, carbon dioxide and oxygen. Why is that important for the environment and humans? Well, plants are absorbing carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere, which creates a greenhouse effect and can cause the earth to become too warm. It's also a waste product that we breathe out. And what these plants create is oxygen, which is a vital nutrient for most life on Earth. Alright, and then I want you to go through these questions. The process that uses the sun energy to make simple sugars is. And the next question, the function accomplished by light-dependent reactions is. And we'll go over these in class. And that is photosynthesis.